Okay guys, so thank you for coming back to my channel. Those are you who are new, do not forget to subscribe. We're going to start here with about a little over a half to a quarter of fabric for me, a yard for me and Isabel's silk fabric, and then these little packages that you find at Walmart for about 97 cents to $2. So to make baby's bonnet, it's pretty cheap. So I want to also tell you guys why I have this pile of needles here. It's 40, and I'm going to be making 8 piles of 5 to make sure that at all times I know where all of my needles are, so that they never get lost, because we're doing this for a little baby or for a little girl. You want to make sure that or even for ourselves, that we have them all. And I'm going to make sure I divide them evenly. Now once I was finished dividing them, I realized that it wasn't 40, it was 38. And then I remembered that there is one to the table to my right and to my left. And I was like, oh, okay. So you'll find me discover that. So there's the one to my right, and there's the one to my left. So I'm going to go ahead and start the project. So I have a lighter here to finish off because I don't have a serger. Sometimes there's loose threads. And then I have my measuring tape. And I have my elastic band. So my elastic band is literally about an inch or so bigger than my head. Which is perfect because I don't really care for it to be that tight. I'm going to go ahead and put my safety pin on that, as well as the black string that I have for Isabelle. It's a stretchy string that I found at the fabric store. Now what I realized is when I did her last one, it was about 20 inches, which is her head measurement plus 5. So you'll see me measuring that here, and I was like, okay, so let me just go ahead and measure that out again. And once I put it to my measuring tape, I realized that it wasn't that much left over. So I was like, okay, let's see what I can do here. I folded it in half, and you will see that I got to measure it again. And when I measured it again, I got 23 inches. So 3 inches more, that won't hurt me at all. And I can do this again for her or another baby really soon. This was a little less than a yard. So you'll be able to use that twice. Oh, nope, it was actually a yard and a half. A little less than a yard and a half. So I have this. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys this scrunchie thing. So this thing that will make it adjustable, you can find that on a sweater. I'm going to go ahead and put my safety pin on that now, and I'll be back to it. If you guys would like to buy the stretchy string or the adjustable clip for me, email me and then I can get back to you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that little piece that you get from Walmart for about $1 or $2. I believe it's like wavery fabric that is usually on this wall at Walmart. I'm going to go ahead and fold that into 4 pieces. And when I fold that into 4 pieces, after cutting the extra white part off the bottom, I got 9 inches possible to go around. So it was like 9 by 11. Usually when I get the smallest number, that's how much I will go around when I get my square folded. So I had Isabelle's done before. Isabelle's was 7 by 7, which is perfect for a 0 to 6 month. If you have 6 month and up, 9 would be perfect. Up to, I guess, maybe 2 or 3, and then you want to get a bigger size. So I'm going to be doing 9 inches all the way around. And once I get where I see my 9, I'm going to put a pin, and then I'm going to measure again and put a pin, measure again and put a pin. And that's how we pretty much got our circumference of the circle after folding our square into 4 pieces. And basically you see me lifting it up because I don't want the pin to go into the tablecloth. Or so if you guys are doing this on a carpet, you also want to make sure you lift it up so you don't have to deal with the cloth getting stuck after you pin it. So basically it's pinned all the way around. I'm going to go ahead and cut around my 9 inch semicircle, and I'm going to make sure I had a little extra. So perfect, I have my 9 inches going all the way around. Now I'm going to start working with my satin for Isabelle. So I put my satin down, and since it's 9, you want it to be a 18 by 18 square when you are cutting it out from a bigger piece of fabric. So I measured 18 going one way, and then I measured 18 going the other way. And all that I'm going to do is take a pencil, which I didn't mention before, but I didn't have chalk at the moment, or I couldn't find it. So if you guys have painter's chalk, or you can take your time, you can use that too, but I just used the residue from an eraser to be able to get the line cut as perfect as possible. So you see me doing my square, and I'm going to go ahead and pin the major points and go ahead and cut that square out. So after I get my square nicely cut out, I am going to fold it into 4 like I did with the previous piece of fabric. So you fold it in half, and then you fold it in half again, and you start to pin it to get that 9-inch circumference again. Sometimes I like to put the previous piece of fabric that I cut on top, but it doesn't always come out perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and do my same thing, measure and pin, measure and pin, measure and pin all the way around. And from there, you want to just make sure that they are pretty even before proceeding to the next step. So I'm going to go ahead and cut around there to get my semicircle. Cut, cut, cut. And then when I open it up, this is how it should be. It should be pretty even. I saw that it wasn't exactly even, so I went ahead and cut off a tad bit more fabric. But I would suggest you guys try to get it as close as possible, just as I did the first step. And you know, maybe you won't have to go through this step again. But if you were a beginner, this would be the perfect thing for you to do, to take your time. So I'm going to go ahead and take out my pins. I'm going to lay these two on top of each other. So once I get my circle open, I'm going to put the inside to the inside. So basically it's inside out. So the shiny side should be facing the pretty side of your fabric. And you want to make sure that everything is aligned perfectly. Mine is still a little off, but that's fine because it will not be seen at all. But you want it to be as close as possible so that when you're doing your circle going all the way around, you can get as close to the edge as possible. So right now I'm just going to be pinning it. So that once I put it on the sewing machine, it'll be easy to work with. And I actually will not be throwing this right onto the sewing machine. I find it easier that I do baby's measurements in circle, and I fold it and I put it to the side, so that once it's time to go to the sewing machine, you sew everything together at the same time. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for myself. I'm going to go ahead and fold it. And when I measured that, I got 14 inches. This is a little over a half, maybe 3/4 of fabric, but it was kind of uneven. So she was just like, okay, I'll give it to you for a half, which I was like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. So you can always find deals like that when your fabric is uneven, or I think there was actually a mark on it, some type of dirty mark, and I could have easily washed it off. So save money on that. So I'm going to go ahead and pin it all the way around to 14. And I'm going to just cut that semicircle out like I did the last one. You're going to grab that over that piece of fabric that was left over. You don't even have to really cut it out. You just want to go ahead and start measuring on that. And any scraps will just be left over and put to the side. You guys could possibly use it to make a hair bow, to be hand sewn onto your bonnet, whatever you guys will want to do, or you can just put the fabric aside for another project. But I'm going to go ahead and pin it up, and I'm going to cut my perfect square out so that I could easily do that 14 around. So we're going to do the same thing that we did last time. Measure and pin, measure and pin. After I finish measuring it and pinning it, I'm just going to go ahead and grab my scissors and do that cut as I did 3 previous times. So by this time you guys could probably get a hand of it, and I'll be like, oh, this is pretty easy. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that they are as close as possible. Take out my pins, open my circle, and do inside to inside, shiny side to the pretty side of the fabric, and pin it up. And as you guys can see, this looks huge. It is pretty big. This is for me. I actually have plaits in at the moment, so I wanted to be sure that it could fit all of my plaits under here, as well as when I'm just wearing my afro, or if I'm wearing a puff at the top. I have big hair, and I usually wear big hair when I'm using protective style, so I wanted it to be big enough. So 14 is more than enough. If you guys like it small and tight, then you can simply go with maybe 11 or 12. Even 12 inches is kind of big, kind of small. You can work your way around that. So now it's pretty much time to start sewing our projects. So you're going to go ahead and grab your bonnet. Since I'm already working with mommy's bonnet, I'm going to go ahead and start working with that. Now, as I said before, you want to make sure you get as close to the end as possible. For me, I was kind of rushing for video purposes. I had my daughter in the background. I was recording this by myself. But you want to take your time when you were working on a project for a customer. I've done this several times for my customers before, and they've come out great. And they've been a nice fit for them, because when you're doing it like this, you're actually kind of taking away some of the inches from the bonnet. Now I'm going to show you guys, after you go ahead and do all the way around, I want to just make sure that there's not a lot of extra fabric hanging outside of that seal, because once I flip it inside out and I have to do my inside circle, it can mess it up a lot and, you know, seal it. It's hard to explain. But basically, I'm going to slow it down right now so that you guys can see how I pull it, back inside out, right side out. So I basically find that hole, and I grab a piece of fabric from the inside with about 2 fingers, and I start to slowly pull it through. Basically turning it right side out, and speeding it back up. And I'm going to throw this back onto the sewing machine. So what I meant by making sure there's not a lot of extra fabric outside of that seam is, once you put it back onto the sewing machine, you want to also make sure that it is a pretty tight, pretty close to the edge. So if you had extra fabric, what it would do is it'll practically seal that extra fabric on the inside with your new line. So you want to make sure there's not a lot of extra fabric hanging once you turn it back right side out, so that you're pretty much only putting a hollow space with no fabric inside of that hollow space. So we're going to go ahead and finish and complete this circle. Do our back stitch, and that's part you pulled all the way. Previously you were supposed to leave a space. I'm sorry if I forgot to mention that, but you want to leave a space so that you'll have that hole to put in your elastic. And I'm going to go ahead and put that one aside. So for this one, you're going to go ahead and do the same thing. You're going to go all the way around the circle, and you are going to leave a space. Leave a hole open so that you can insert your band to make it adjustable. Making sure that there's no extra fabric on the inside, making sure that it's as neat as possible. And I'm going to take it back to the sewing machine. So we're just going to go all the way around, leaving no space. Do your double stitch, cut it off, and I'm going to go ahead and take that piece of string that I put the needle, the safety pin on previously, and I'm going to push it through the open space that we have. And you're going to basically start to do a push and pull maneuver. You're going to push the safety pin in and pull the fabric behind it over the string. You're going to push the safety pin in and pull the fabric that you have gathered over the string that's behind it. So push and pull, push and pull. You may find that eventually it seems like you can't continue to go through. That's because you have too much gathered fabric in one spot and it's kind of stuck. So you have to make sure that you pull that fabric down over the string that is still coming through the back end. Once you get a hang of that, I'm going to go ahead and start fast forwarding this again till you get to the end, and I pull it all the way through. I make sure the string can freely move through, and I'm going to go ahead and start putting the adjustable clip on the end of the string. So what you're going to do is you're going to try to force both strings into that hole. More than likely you're only going to get one of them to come all the way through, but once you get the first string to go all the way through, you pull it out enough and you're going to grab a safety pin, and with the safety pin you're going to squeeze the adjustable clip again and go down and dig out that other half. Once you get a nice grip of the other half, the safety pin will basically do the rest of the work. I didn't know that I couldn't see at this point because it was just me recording without my husband this time. But as you can see, I pulled it back down, and you're just going to pull that other string out. And once you got both of them, you're going to make sure the adjustable clip can go all the way up and down, and you're going to flip everything back the right way so that you can see, okay, I like it, I don't like it, I probably would have needed a longer string, or this string is too long. At the end I'm going to basically do a double knot. I'm going to double knot it so that it doesn't slide back through afterwards, so that the kids can't get it off, so they can't bite the clip off, and I'm going to burn the ends to seal it. And I'm going to do the same thing to the opposite end. Do my double knot, clip off any excess, and I'm going to burn and seal the end. So that is baby's bonnet, adjustable. So I'm going to put that to the side, and now I'm basically going to do the easy part, which is the mommies, because it just gets an elastic band. So I'm going to put one end of the elastic band and seal it to the bottom so that when I'm pulling it through, it doesn't come all the way through and you have to start all the way over. So now I'm just doing that push and pull maneuver with the safety pin. And you push it in and you pull from behind. You push it in and you pull from behind all the way around. Push it in and you pull from behind. Once I get both of my ends out, I'm going to take that part that I had clipped to the bottom, and I'm just going to make sure that they are perfectly aligned and not looped the wrong way, and I'm going to do a front and back stitch twice. So I push it down, I do front back stitch, front back stitch, so that is pretty sealed and it won't pop loose later on. And after I get that, I'm going to cut it off, and I am going to hand stitch this end. So you're going to make sure that your ends look clean, that there's no extra scraps, and you're going to get a hand needle with string, and you're basically going to go ahead and you're going to seal that bottom piece. You're going to go over and under, and making sure that you get a nice tight grip, because the worst thing that you want to happen is that a customer gets this and that it comes loose on them, or that the elastic starts to peek out. You don't want any of that to happen. You want it to look clean. So putting on the sewing machine will probably work for some, but for me, I like to just get my hand needle and hand close it. And that's pretty much it. Once I finish doing this with my hand needle, that'll be all from my bonnet. I'm going to make sure that it fits perfectly for me and my plaits. And after that, the project is practically done. You did it. You completed your own Mommy and Me bonnet. I know that the majority of this video was time-lapse. I do apologize, but it was a lot of content to get inside. If you guys really desire a slower video, I can most definitely do that, but I know when I myself was searching for this, I could not find it anywhere. Some people did show and tell, some people just did one or the other, so I decided to do a video with both. And I think that it came out pretty great, so I hope that you guys enjoy it as well. I'm going to go ahead and make sure I knot my end. I cut the extra string and I sealed it with fire, so you see mine. I'm going to go ahead and try it on now and put my plaits inside, and it fits perfectly. It's not too tight. I loved it. So I'm going to go ahead and flatten mine to show you guys and to show Isabelle's, and I'm also going to be putting some pictures in here as well to thank you and show you guys how great it came in. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and to come back. Thank you so much. Bye.